Monday morning, Megyn Kelly makes her daytime debut.
Ahead of the premiere, our Kimberly Gill went to New York and got to spend some time with Megyn one-on-one.
There is a great deal that goes into launching a new show, not to mention one that seems to be on everybody's radar.
These are our wonderful friends from Detroit.
Welcome to our icebox.
Yeah.
And we got a rare chance to go behind the scenes of Megyn Kelly today, just days before the big debut.
We should have gotten like some drinks or something. Speaking of that martini.
If she's feeling the pressure, she sure wasn't showing it as we sat down on her brand new set for a very candid conversation.
Certainly anything that you're scared or nervous about?
Yes. I in general, I don't really love public speaking. And I'm one of those people who gets nervous at the beginning and my heart is like that. And then, you're a couple minutes into it and you calm down and you're fine. But people think just because you can look into the camera and broadcast to millions of people, you can do public speaking very easily.
Not the same.
It is not the same. So I'm slightly worried I might have a heart attack and keel over. So please watch. And if I make it through the first couple of minutes, you'll know she's good. She's good.
That's great.
They're going to be here. I can see the people.
You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
My hope is that this show can be a unifying force.
What do you say to the people who might question your authenticity after, seeing you on Fox News? You're this aggressive, great cross-examinator kind of interviewer, and then you come here and you're completely different. It seems in your promos that you're doing, you're very soft and you're hugging people, which was the opposite of Fox News. Do you worry about that?
I think assumes facts, not in evidence. I think that criticism you're raising in your question is based on a caricature of what I actually did on Fox News. If you actually watched me for 13 years there, you would see my show was full of personality and full of humor and full of warm moments. But if you didn't watch, then you only saw snippets. And those snippets would generally be of someone like Newt Gingrich attacking me. And the fact that I was able to stand my ground when under attack does not mean that I am not a warm, soft person. It means I'm a strong woman who doesn't wither when someone comes at me. And I think most of the people who ask me that question are men, but what I have to say to people who question that is, I don't know a woman who isn't both strong and warm, who doesn't have moments of tears and ferocity in the appropriate moment. And I think to assume that one comes at the expense of the other is to misunderstand any woman I know. I don't know a woman who is all one and none the other. So my authentic self is able to cross-examine a politician who is lying to me with the best in the business. And my authentic self is also able to empower and uplift my viewers on matters that affect us all in a way that can be warm, can be funny, can be inspiring, can be bawdy, and can be fun. It's really a very selfish project. I'm creating my show, like that I want to watch.
It seems as if everything that you touch turns to gold. You've been so successful. Loved reading your book, hearing about how you worked through law school and at Jones Day and just everything. Does that put more pressure on you think, when you are so successful to knock it out of the park with this next project?
Maybe for people outside of my world, it does. I know generally what people are writing about the show like it's going to be the second coming, and it's not. I never promised that. But I don't think about my own life like that. What makes me me is my history, my family, my husband, my children, and I'm going to have that no matter what, God willing, right? So that is not at stake here. So I'm good.
Do you think of what your biggest failure is?
Well, again, I don't think of it exactly that way, but there's a lot of moments that I wish I had been kinder. I wish I had been more open-minded. I wish I hadn't said such stupid shit. You can just bleep that. But you can't live a perfect life. All you can hope is that over time, people get to know the real you.
Detroit's a heavily African-American city. Have you thought about how you will connect with African-American viewers?
I don't think it's helpful to slice and dice your audience like that. I think if you put great product on the air, they will come. And I'll be judged on what I do on this program from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And if people enjoy that product and feel connected to me, they'll watch. And if they don't, they won't. So, and that's as it should be. You know, it's on me to do something that reaches out to everybody. And that's what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm trying to offer something that is unifying for everyone.
Is there anything that you want to say to the viewers of Detroit? Why should they watch you?
I want them to know that if they're feeling disconnected, if they're feeling a sense of malaise about their life choices or something going on in their lives right now or in the country, for them to give me a shot, because I know what that feels like. And I think we're going to be able to offer and explore some ways forward, you know, in a manner that's not judgmental, but hopefully helpful. And I want them to know they're not alone. You know, I've been through that. I've had hard times in my life. I had a divorce. I was badly bullied. I lost my father at a young age. I've been stalked. I've been harassed. I've had a lot of stuff happen. It hasn't been all rainbows and unicorns. But I've found ways to cope. Hard work has been one way I've found to get me through. And I think this show can hopefully be a vehicle for people who might be suffering or might be a little lost toward feeling connected and feeling better, feeling more wellness in their lives. So I hope they'll give us a shot. Give me a try. Give me a chance. And then if I blow it, leave me forever. But hopefully I won't. And a beautiful new relationship will be formed.